What's up, it's Tony back with another episode of the ItsTony podcast, and today I'm starting with sports. I'm starting with the WNBA. I haven't done a video since the WNBA playoffs started, so I'm going to start with the Aces versus the Storm, who played Game 2 today. Game 1, the Aces beat the Storm, and they killed them in the fourth quarter. The Storm didn't even score a field goal in the fourth quarter. Also, before I get further into the matchup between the Aces and the Storm, congratulations to A'ja Wilson for getting the unanimous MVP award. I already knew that she was going to get it, so I'm not very surprised. I'm just happy for her because she deserved it, and she was the best player in the WNBA all year. Now, back to the Aces versus the Storm. The Aces won, and I picked them to win, but I cannot lie. I thought it would be closer, and it was close the first three quarters until it got to the fourth. And I think that is because the Storm, they need Ezi Magbegor. Hopefully she comes back today, and I'm going to do another video talking about the games today. So hopefully if she's there, we'll see a difference with the Storm having Ezi Magbegor and Nneka Ogwumike guarding A'ja. But the Aces just look like the better team when it mattered the most. A'ja did not play well the first half, but in the second half, she started to cook. But while she wasn't playing well, it didn't really hurt the Aces that much because Chelsea Gray was playing really good. Jackie Young was cooking up. She had like 13 points. Chelsea Gray is back to being a point guard. So while A'ja was struggling a little bit, there were other people on the team to help them stay close in the game. And then once A'ja came and started cooking in the game, it was no stopping the Aces. They could not guard them. And that's what I said was going to happen if the others on the Aces played well. If they play well, then you can't double A'ja Wilson. And if you can't double A'ja Wilson, she can get the shots that she wants. Although I will say Nneka Ogwumike played A'ja really well throughout the whole game, I just think that it's hard to do it for a full game. And that's why I think that they need Ezi Magbegor. Because Ezi and Nneka, they could take turns guarding her. Because the Aces don't really have a center or another big that Seattle Storm has to worry about. So when Kia Stokes is in a game, you just allow the person that's guarding Kia Stokes, hopefully Ezi Magbegor, you allow her to double A'ja, and you're not ever worried about Kia Stokes doing anything because she will not shoot, and she doesn't have an offensive game, so you don't have to worry about her. But what counters that is if the Aces what counters that is if the Aces outside of A'ja are playing well, because then you can't double. I think if Ezi Magbegor is playing today, I think it'll be a closer game, but I still have the Aces winning and going to the next round. A big part of the reason why I know that they're going to win and go to the next round is because they have the 6th Woman of the Year. It hasn't been made official, but this is the person that I believe will be the 6th Woman of the Year, Tiffany Hayes. When Tiffany Hayes comes on the court, she is instant offense. And she adds some depth to that team that they need. So in the starting lineup, you have A'ja Wilson, Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum. And then on the bench, you have Alicia Clark and Tiffany Hayes. Two people that help the Aces a bunch and are needed for the Aces to succeed. So I just think the Aces are just a better team, and they're starting to hit stride at the right time. The next matchup I'm going to be talking about will have their game 2 tonight, and that is the New York Liberty versus Atlanta. And it's going to be short because New York is clearly a better team than Atlanta. And I was wrong. I thought that Atlanta, their big three, would be able to play good enough to stay in a game with the New York Liberty, but they're not playing good enough. And I think New York, especially with home court advantage, I think they're going to smoke Atlanta again and get ready for the Aces or the Storm. I believe the Aces in the next round. And if everything goes the way I think it will go, the next round being the Aces versus the Liberty is a crazy matchup. So once New York beat Atlanta, they're going to either play the Aces or Seattle Storm, and I believe it's going to be the Aces. And the Aces versus the Liberty in round 2 is going to be a crazy matchup, and I think it's going to be fire. Seattle Storm versus the Aces and the Liberty versus Atlanta Dream are the 2 games that happened today. The next 2 games that I'm going to speak about have their game 2 tomorrow. And the first matchup of those 2 games that happen tomorrow are Minnesota Lynx versus Phoenix Mercury. And I know if you see the score of game 1, you're going to think it's a close game, and it was a close game towards the end, but throughout most of the game, the Lynx were beating them by 20. To be honest, I blame BG for how lackluster the Phoenix Mercury are, because I believe the Phoenix Mercury should be beating the Minnesota Lynx. I think if you have BG, somebody that has a matchup all night, you feed her, she scores, they have to double. Once they have to double BG, you have not only Natasha Cloud, who played great that game. She was the only person that really played well the whole game. Then you have Kalia Copper, somebody that if they are struggling, if they continue to shoot, they will start getting hot. And once she is hot, she is unstoppable. Then you have Sophia Cunningham, somebody that can shoot threes and is a good defender. Then you have Diana Taurasi, arguably one of the best players in WNBA history. If they are doubling BG because she's playing so dominant and so well, you have all of those options that may be open. And if y'all can't play through that, then y'all just not going to win. If y'all getting blown out like that, y'all just not going to win. And it's frustrating watching the Phoenix Mercury because they should be better. They should be better. They have a bunch of talent. It just seems like they don't know what to do. And sometimes it seems like they're not just putting enough effort into the game plan and executing. I'm not saying that the Phoenix Mercury should just be dog walking the Minnesota Lynx because the Minnesota Lynx are a good team. Napheesa Collier is not to play with. She scored 30-something in that game, and she was cooking everybody in front of her. But I'll be lying if I said that Minnesota is a team that should just be beating the Mercury. Because on paper, they're not that special outside of Napheesa Collier. Yes, they have great role players. Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams. Those are great players that they have. But if we're talking about starting five for starting five, I believe that the Phoenix Mercury have a better starting five. The only thing is the Minnesota Lynx, they play together and they play as a team. And they also play defense. It looks like they buy into the game plan and Cheryl Reeves coaches them way better than how the Phoenix Mercury are coached. It looks like Minnesota buys in on the game plan and they execute perfectly. Now, when they get next to a team that is coached as well as they are coached and they have the names and the talent on that team, I think that the Minnesota Lynx are going to get beat. Like, I don't think that the Minnesota Lynx could beat a New York Liberty team or the Las Vegas Aces, and I don't think that they could beat Connecticut Sun. I'm just being honest. When I put those teams side by side, I think that those three teams are better than Minnesota Lynx. And I know some of y'all might think I'm bugging because the Minnesota Lynx were the best team in the league this year. I just think a lot of that comes from them being a good unit. Like, they are coached well and they play well together. Now, when it comes to matchups, and that's what I think the playoffs is all about, I don't think solely being a good team is going to get you to a chip. I think having superstars and having great players are going to get you to a chip. But as for the Phoenix Mercury versus Minnesota Lynx, I have the Lynx winning. After watching game one, I clearly switched my opinion, and I believe the Minnesota Lynx are going to clearly smoke the Phoenix Mercury and go to the next round. The last matchup is the Connecticut Sun versus the Indiana Fever. This matchup is causing a lot of extra drama on Twitter, on social media, on ESPN, because Caitlin Clark is a part of it. And I applaud Caitlin Clark. Associated Press named her the unanimous Rookie of the Year, and I believe since the Olympic break, she has clearly won and has been the best rookie and one of the best players in the league since that Olympic break. So I don't have no argument with the Associated Press. What I don't like is how people on social media are trying to bash Carrington for poking Caitlin Clark in the eye. Caitlin Clark came out and she said that was clearly not intentional.
Please, circling back on the play with your eye, what would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional and maybe even warrants a suspension?
It wasn't intentional by any means. You just watched the play. It wasn't intentional.
If you see, it was a basketball play and it was an accident. But that is why a lot of people don't like Caitlin Clark and don't like her fans and want people to stop talking about her so much, because a lot of toxic things do come with Caitlin Clark. And it's not her fault, but it is the reality of what a star of her caliber brings. And a lot of the time, it looks like people are more a fan of Caitlin Clark than they are a fan of women's sports and women basketball. For instance, Shannon Sharp. I fuck with Shannon Sharp on a lot of things. But I do not fuck with him nor Stephen A when it comes to talking about the WNBA. They want to only talk about the person that brings a bunch of views. They don't want to promote other players outside of her. And that is whack to me. But I'm not going to go on a long rant about this. I just think that pushing Caitlin Clark so much is whack to me. I think that she's a great player. I think she deserves a lot of the attention that she gets, but I think that other players deserve attention as well. I don't feel like people are talking about Aja Wilson being her third MVP unanimously enough, but that's just my personal opinion. Y'all don't have to agree. that's neither here nor there. But that is what comes with talking about the Indiana Fever. Once you talk about the Indiana Fever, it's a whole bunch of non-basketball outside stuff that comes into play when you're speaking about the Indiana Fever. But I'm done with all that outside stuff. Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. Connecticut Sun just look like a better team. They look like a veteran team. Marina Mabrey. Chicago Sky, you are a stupid organization. I don't know why you traded Marina Mabrey. I don't know if it was tension in the locker room and y'all had to. I don't know what y'all were doing. I would have kept Marina Mabrey, and you see why I would have kept her. In the first game, she went off. She went crazy. Alyssa Thomas got a triple-double, and she shows why she is a great player and a player that needs to be spoken about more because she is a freight train, and she just helps that team and carries that team a lot. Then you have DeWanna Bonner, who is locking up Caitlin Clark for a lot of the game, and you have Dejanay Carrington, who is locking up anybody that she had to guard. Then, not only do you have those people, you have Brianna Jones, who is a great post player. I just believe that the Connecticut Sun are a better team than the Indiana Fever at this moment. As for the Indiana Fever, Kelsey Mitchell showed up and she played well. AB showed up and she played well. But it wasn't enough to beat the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark had a bad game, and I don't blame her for having a bad game. Yes, you have a bad game. You're a shooter, so you're going to continue to shoot, and I think that's what you need to do. I'm not going to bash her for having a bad game because she is a rookie. And all the Connecticut Sun have to do is game plan for Caitlin Clark and stopping her. The Indiana Fever needs to play as a team. They need everybody to cook. And they also need to play better defense. Everything can't just be you score, they score, and let's see who scores the most points. They need to play better defense. And if Caitlin Clark is not having a good game, somebody else needs to help out. Because I believe that Kelsey Mitchell, AB, Caitlin Clark, if they're all playing well, they can help their team be successful, but they still need the others to play well. I just think the Indiana Fever are a young team, so I think it's just going to be a tougher matchup between the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever. But if the Indiana Fever start to cook up and Caitlin Clark can make her shots, I think it's going to be a closer game, but I still have the Connecticut Sun beating the Indiana Fever. As for what I really don't like about the playoff format is I don't like that the first round is only 3 games. Also, I think it's just more fair to allow both teams to have a game where they're playing at home. The last thing that I don't like about the playoff format is I don't like that New York versus Las Vegas is most likely going to happen in the second round. I don't want to see a rematch this early, but it is what it is. I was hoping to see them rematch in the finals, but it is what it is. That's the way the brackets were set up. Last thing on the WNBA, I seen Angel Reese at an Usher concert singing, and I just want to say that Angel Reese, regardless if she's playing basketball or not, she's going to be a star. I think that she just has the personality and she knows how to use social media to brand herself and market herself. So just shouts out to Angel Reese because regardless, whatever you do, you're going to be a star and you're going to be an influential figure for years to come, regardless if you're playing basketball or regardless if you're on or off the court. So shout outs to you. Staying in sports, on Sunday, Green Bay beat the Titans, and they beat the Titans way better than the Jets beat the Titans. I don't know how Green Bay is so good right now, especially without their franchise quarterback, but I do know that Green Bay's defense is tough, and I think that might be the reason why they are so good. When Jordan Love first got hurt, all I asked for is that Green Bay stays above water until he comes back. And they have done that. And supposedly Jordan Love might be available and is ready to come back. So to be honest, everything went perfectly planned. And the Green Bay Packers looked like a great team. Maybe the people that were doing predictions before the season wasn't bugging when they said Green Bay is a top 10 team in the league. Because they look like a top 10 team. And they doing that without their franchise quarterback. So just imagine what they're going to do when Jordan Love comes back. The next game for the Green Bay Packers are against the Vikings, and that is a rival game. Also, Sam Darnold has been playing amazing. And I did a video about Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy, but that video alone just explains how good Sam Darnold has been playing, and I don't know about that game, but I do know that the Packers defense is good, and I believe Jordan Love might be coming back. So if Jordan Love comes back, I think Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. And I think the Packers are better than the Vikings. So we'll see. Hopefully we get that dub versus the Vikings and Jordan Love is playing. Well, let's cross our fingers that Jordan Love plays. But if Jordan Love isn't playing, Malik Willis has been playing well for the Packers. Jets play the Broncos next, and I think that's an easy win. And I also like it for the Jets because I want to see their defense and their offense click more. And I think that they will be able to show how good their offense and defense is against a whack Broncos team. So I'm expecting them not only to win, but dominate. If they don't dominate, then I'm a nitpick. And I'm sorry, I'm saying it ahead of time. If they do not dominate, I am nitpicking. Now let's get into music. I've seen the Trader Truth interview with The Breakfast Club where he says that J. Cole's The Fall Off is coming. And
we ain't gonna go in depth, but just don't get it fucked up. His album coming. And when the album comes, it's probably gonna shock a lot of people. So I remember what I tell you all the time, a lot of people form opinions on things and they don't fully know the situation.
That's right.
And a lot of people on Twitter is like, stay on the side that you were on. Oh, y'all was acting like y'all didn't fuck with Cole. Now y'all want to fuck with him. And I want to say to the J. Cole fans and everybody that's saying that, oh, stay on that side. I want y'all to understand, people are just upset that he put out a diss track, he took it away, and that he said all of that stuff that he said on stage. Nobody said that he's a bad rapper. Nobody said that they won't listen to his music. J. Cole did what he thought was right for him, and in my opinion, I respect that. Do what you want to do. What I don't like is that in rap and being a battle rap fan, I don't want a rapper that talks like he is that guy to come off as a coward when a real battle is brought to him. I don't think that he was wrong for dissing Kendrick. And I don't think that it had to become some drama-filled battle rap. I think that it could have been strictly who's a better lyricist, who's a better rapper. And he didn't take that route. And it seemed like he didn't want to take that route. Does that make me think that J. Cole is trash? No. But it does make me look at him different when I hear him talk on tracks and say, oh, I'm the best nigga alive. Niggas don't want to see me. I don't want to hear all of that puffing your chest out, especially after when competition came to you, you backed off. I don't care if that was your friend. So that's why I don't fuck with J. Cole apologizing. I don't know about anybody else. I don't know about the people that are being over dramatic saying that J. Cole is trash now. We don't listen to those people. I just think that competition came and he said, nah, I don't want to do that. Whatever excuse you want to give for the reason why he did that, that's your excuse. But to me, it just looks like you didn't really want the smoke. But as for The Fall Off, I think it's going to be a great album. J. Cole is a part of the big three. He is the last one in the big three, but he's clearly a part of the big three. And you know what showed that he's a part of the big three? A song with Daylight and J. Cole came out, and J. Cole is rapping. J. Cole is a great rapper. Nobody can argue that. On that song, J. Cole is rapping his ass off. He got a few bars in that verse that's just fire to me. He has a King of Pop Michael Jackson bar. He has a Tourniquet Apply Pressure bar that is crazy. He was really rapping, and I will never doubt J. Cole's rapping ability. I see some people saying that he is the best rapper out of the big three. I will disagree, bias or not. Kendrick Lamar is a better rapper than both of them niggas. And that's what I say. But J. Cole is a great rapper. And he showed it in that verse. The only issue that I have with that song is I don't feel like Daylight really brought his best self on that song. I feel like he just did meh. He's really rapping as well, but I feel like he let J. Cole kill him. And I don't think that if Daylight is putting his best foot forward, I don't think that there will be a big gap between Daylight and J. Cole. That's my opinion. I've seen what Daylight can do. He can really rap. And he can really rap his ass off. And I think that on his best day, I think he could wrap circles around J. Cole and have you really breaking it down and have people making videos breaking down what Daylight is saying. I think that J. Cole is a great blend of being relatable and also rapping his ass off. He does the blend of those two things so well. But sometimes because he's so relatable and he's also rapping his ass off, I feel like he dumbs down his pen and he says things that everybody can catch. Now, when it comes to rapping over niggas' heads and rapping in circles around niggas, I think Daylight can do that. I know that he can do that. And that's why I don't like that. It seemed like Daylight was just letting J. Cole just go off and just was happy for the feature. Not saying that Daylight's verse was whack. And I'm not saying that J. Cole's verse was whack. I think that both of their verses were good. I think J. Cole out-rapped Daylight. But my thing is, I think that Daylight on his best day out-rapped J. Cole. Daylight is a lyrical nigga, bro. A real lyrical nigga. I don't think that J. Cole is a real lyrical above niggas' head rapper. I think Daylight on his best day is an above niggas' head, teaching niggas, using words that niggas don't know, lyrical miracle type rapper. I don't think J. Cole is that. That's what I'm saying. On their best days, I think J. Cole is closer to the verse that he made on this feature. On Daylight's best day, I think that he is 10 times better than J. Cole's feature. That is just my opinion. Y'all can say I'm bugging. Watch Daylight battle rap. When you see Daylight on his best, that nigga is really spitting. Or watch his freestyle. He did a freestyle on LA Leakers and he was smoking it. There's a bar in this Daylight J. Cole song where I know that Daylight didn't bring his best or didn't want to go too crazy. He had a Matador bullshit bar. If this was battle rap, people wouldn't boo it, but people wouldn't go that crazy for it because they heard that type of bar over and over. And I don't even think that Daylight would use that type of bar in battle rap because he's so complex. That's how I knew that he was just taking it light in this verse. I don't know. Maybe I have high expectations for Daylight because I've heard his freestyles. I heard him rap. I've heard him battle rap. I know where that nigga pen is. Especially on his best day. His pen is crazy on his best day. But that's neither here nor there. I think that the song between J. Cole and Daylight was a great song. And shout outs for J. Cole for doing another song with Daylight, who a lot of people in mainstream media may not know, but Daylight is a rapper. If you want to hear raps, Daylight is a nigga that you would try to listen to because he could really rap. So shout outs to J. Cole for doing that. That was fire to me. The last thing I want to talk about in this episode is the show Insecure. I'm watching Insecure for the first time. I'm on season 3. And I don't know. Y'all might think I'm bugging. And I'm not trying to just have a hot take. I'm being honest. I'm not trying to just be controversial. I know a lot of people love this show. And I think it's a good show. But I do think it's overrated, 1. And 2, I don't think that they deserve this fire-ass soundtrack that they have. I think that the soundtrack sometimes is so good that it makes up for the mid-storytelling. For instance, let me preface this. I came into this show knowing some of the things that were going to happen because this show was so big. Also, I came into the show hearing, yo, Issa Rae is a star, Issa Rae is a star. She's a great actor. She's a great writer. So I came in the show thinking that Issa Rae, her character in the show, I thought that her character was going to be the best character. I'm 3 seasons in, and I don't like her storyline. And I think that it's slow. I think that her storyline is so slow. And I don't like her as a character. I think that Molly and Lauren's character are way better than Issa's. So that's why I came in disappointed. Like, yo, y'all niggas is saying all this about Issa, but Molly is a way better character and her storyline is better. And Lawrence is a way better character and his storyline is better. Lawrence has the best storyline. No. It's between Lawrence and Molly who has the best storyline. I love Molly's love life storyline and I love her work storyline. I love Lawrence's love life storyline and I love Lawrence's work storyline. They are both fire. Molly and Lawrence storylines are way better. And they seem more meaningful. As for Issa, it just seems like nigga. What nigga? Daniel or Lawrence or like it just seems all over the place, bro. And then at work, it doesn't even seem like she really likes this job. And yes, I'm only three seasons in. But 3 seasons in, I thought that her storyline would pick up and get better. 3 seasons in, it just seems like she's doing the same shit over and over. Then at every turn, she never has accountability, bro. She does something fucked up, and when it comes to being accountable for her fuck-ups, she only wants to be like, oh, but you fucked up too. Sometimes, and let's be honest, sometimes one person's fuck-up is way bigger than the other person's fuck-up. For instance, Issa versus Lawrence. Lawrence was a bum. He was a bum in season 1. He was a bum. He didn't have no job. He was just sitting on the couch and he was just hoping for the best. Issa's right in that. He was a bum and she was holding him down. He was a bum. But Issa cheated on that nigga. Come on, bro. Lawrence fucked up. He was a bum. He wasn't doing nothing. He was just dependent on his girl. Issa fuck up was bigger, bro. And then after that, Issa want to continue fucking with the nigga that she was cheating with. And then they have this whole argument outside of the restaurant of their friend's birthday party. And niggas want to say that Issa was cooking. No, she was not. No, she was not. And niggas want to say that she was cooking because one of the best rebuttals to what she was saying is that why you was fucking the bank teller girl. Nigga, what does that mean? Like, they weren't together. And when the bank teller girl was trying to make moves onto Lawrence when he was in a relationship, he was like, nah, get out of here. I seen Issa while they was in a relationship flirting with the Daniel nigga. And then Issa is mad judgmental, bro. Like, I'm just being honest. I just don't fuck with Issa that much. And maybe later on in the show, I'm gonna start fucking with her when she starts to do stuff in her life. But a lot of the 3 seasons that I've been watching, Issa just seemed like a fuck up. She just seemed trash. Perfect comparison for Issa in the show and how much I dislike her, although she's the main character, is Euphoria. I hate Rue. I hate Rue. I hate the lady, bro. I hate her. I want her to die in that show. She's annoying. And she just keep fucking up. It's annoying. That storyline is whack. Now we can compare it to another storyline in that same show that is way better. Nate's storyline is way better than Rue's storyline. Same way I think that Molly and Lauren's storyline are better than Issa's storyline. If the show was revolving around Molly and Lawrence, I think that it would be a way better show. As for Euphoria, if the show was revolving Nate family and the fuck up that Nate is and how his fuck ups and his father's fuck ups and his family's fuck ups connect to everybody, every character, I think you could still get Rue in that storyline, but she just wouldn't be the main focus, and we just wouldn't have to be invested in her being a dumbass. As for Nate, we get a real reason. We understand. We see why Nate is such a fuck up. And it's just more interesting. Just like Molly and Lawrence, their storylines are just more interesting than Issa. But I'm on season 3. Maybe by the end of this series, I might change my point of view. But a point of view that I'm sticking on is with Insecure is that Insecure has overpowered soundtrack. And it makes the show even better than what it is. Because how can a show be trash if you have Frank Ocean, Jasmine Sullivan, her, and every other fire R&B act in the soundtrack? It can't be whack. It can't be. This shit is OP. It's overpowered. This soundtrack is cheating. How can I hate a series if every time I'm watching a show, I hear another fire song that I never knew or another fire artist that I love? How can I say that this show is trash? That's like, it's crazy. Imagine if during every episode of the ItsTony podcast, you hear fire music in the background. Even if I'm yapping and saying shit that you don't agree with, saying shit that you don't like, you're going to come for the music alone. And then you're going to be like, oh, the music matches what's going on. Oh, I may like it more. It's OP. One thing that I hope you guys do end up liking more is this show. I'm Tony from the ItsTony podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. This show is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'll see you guys in the next video.